Hey guys, I actually had some anonymous asks about how I edit my photos, and I have seen a couple people wanting like a basic Photoshop tutorial. Um, I hope this helps in some way, although I know for a fact that I am in no means a Photoshop expert. I wish I knew more. But I'm definitely a more see and then I can do type of person as opposed to just pictures and they show you and type words. So I hope this helps for some. So we'll get started. Um, when I open up an image, I always want to make sure that I resize it because Tumblr is going to resize it for you. The way you do it, by the way, I use Photoshop. You can use GIMP, although I find Photoshop to be way more superior, so I'm using Photoshop CS6. I got it free from Tumblr. If you use a little Google power, you should be able to find Photoshop for free a lot of places. GIMP is good. I do like GIMP for some things, but I find Photoshop to be the easiest. So I definitely recommend anybody getting this. Plus, there are a lot more tutorials and it's a lot easier to use. Anyways, so once I have my image, I'm going to go up to image and I'm going to go to image size. I adjust mine to 1000 by 560 because Tumblr just in those ranges. You can also do 800 by 448, but I do 1000, so I like it a little bigger. Anyways, so once I resize my image, I'm going to go ahead and play with my, if you want to make it sharper, the best way that I found is if you right click and you're going to go ahead and hit duplicate layer, hit OK. It's going to copy that layer. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go to overlay. It's going to sharpen your image. You want to then adjust the fill and the occupancy to fit where your image need is at. Mine come out pretty sharp as it is. I feel like if I do too much overlay, it looks a little too sharp, too crisp for my liking. But I just adjust it based on that. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flatten the image. I always tend to flatten my image after everything, after every adjustment, because I think it looks better once you flatten it. Then I'm going to go over here to the adjustments, and I'm going to go to brightness and contrast. The one thing that I've noticed with brightness and contrast is that you want one higher and one lower. So if you have your contrast really high, you should have your brightness kind of low. It tends to look a little bit better, I feel. If you have both of them really high, it gives you a distorted look. Again, if that's what you're going for, then by all means. But again, you want to do brightness at some range, contrast a little bit lower. Then you have levels, which no. Yes. Sorry. Levels, which I don't really use, but you can definitely use. They change the level of the color. I think the curves kind of do this, so I don't really mess around with this a whole lot. Really though, it's what you like. The adjustment part is really the best way to play around. The curves do the angle of the light, as you can see as I move up and down. Again, you can change the green, red, blue, anything that you want off of here. You can change. So I'm gonna, that looks good. Exposure changes, you know, how bright or dark it is. Make him a little dark. Offset, well, this kind of gives like that screen feel. I don't really use that much. The gamma correction, again, it's kind of like a light source. I don't really play with exposure too much, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that because I don't really like it. Again, if you ever want to delete something, you can go and hit right click on whatever you want and it'll bring up all these different things and then just delete the layer. If you ever make a mistake, Control Alt Z will backpedal you. So I hit Control Alt Z, it brings back the exposure which I had just deleted. Or you can come up to this little history icon and it'll show everything that you've done for the image. So you can even go back to the original image if you completely messed up, or you can just go to where you last left off. Vibrance is good. I've been trying to make mine more bright. You can see here you can make them very bright. You can do that black and white feel. Saturation, let's go right there. That's good. Color or hue will make the color inside the picture more bright. Obviously, you don't want to go too crazy. I generally try and do a little bit. You can adjust which hue you're adjusting. I tend to stay in this blue. Blue to the green range. I can, come down here and make him, this weird color. That looks good. The lightness you can change. It's kind of like the exposure again, which is why I don't really mess around with every layer because it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to adjust some of these things, I feel like other ones will do the same thing. So we'll make him dark and mysterious. That works. Again, color balance, black and white. If you want a black and white photo, color balance, you can adjust here which ones you want. But I normally use the selective color. I don't want all of this, so I tend to not use this as much. Photo filters are really nice. You can change, if you want it warm or cool or red, yellow, what have you. Underwater, ooh. So I generally change the density to like in the middle. I think, here it's too much, and all the way down it's nothing. So I try and get it to the middle or in between. Again, color lookup, channel mixer, invert, posterize, threshold. These all are going to be a little different. Again, the best thing you can do too is, let's say this threshold's changed. Instead of normal, I come up here to darken. Some of these won't really actually do much on the threshold. But you can see once you play around with certain things how they can be adjusted by you changing what is up here. You can then change this. I don't think it's going to work now. No. So I don't really actually use it all that much because I don't see the point. Unless if I'm trying to do like a actual photo. Otherwise, I really use selective color. I make sure that it's on neutral, and then this changes the hue of it slightly, whereas that other one kind of changed the overall too much to my liking. The black, obviously. Okay, then once I'm all done with my adjustments here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the very top. You can click anywhere, actually. It doesn't matter. And then we're going to right-click on it and hit Flatten Image. Now my image is a full flattened image, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and add light. So if I wanted to add a lighting, I'm going to go to Filter. I'm going to go to Render, Lighting Effects. And there's multiple ones to choose from. I can change, I can move it to get anything I want. I can change the hotspot angle, bring it back down here. Maybe I want that one section to be black over there. Oh, that looks good. You can change it over here in this presets. It's got tons of them. Soft spotlight, flashlight. You can change the angle on the flashlight. Makes it really light. I kind of sometimes suggest that you do this before you even edit. although I tend to do it after. I'm kind of like that. So, yeah. Once you've done that, if there's any imperfections that you don't really like, you can use the lens correction tool. I don't really use this because for some reason it doesn't work on my thing of Tumblr, or Photoshop, sorry. What mine tends to do is just do the basic up sharp mask. So you can fix it like that. If you ever want to go back again, you can go to history, or you can Control Alt Z. You've also got tools over here which are very beneficial. You've got this one in particular, the dodge or the burn tool. The dodge tool is going to make it brighter. So if you want to play with where the light is hitting, like for instance the light's hitting him here, so we can, I really suck at using this tool. I'm not an art student. I don't really get it at all. I do use it sometimes for my frontal pictures, or if I want to make certain things enhanced, like his eyeballs. Or you can use the burn tool, which is going to make it darker, which I do tend to use on the shadowy parts. Again, if you want to do a new layer for that, you most certainly can. So if we edit, step forward again, new layer, and we're going to, oh yeah, we can't do that. Never mind, I lied. So you're going to do the background. You can only use these, dodge or burn tools. If you want to do smudge, like if this little creak on his shoulder is bothering you, I tend to use the smudge tool and just shave it down. Same goes for those little, if you're doing like Sims not suitable for work and those darn butts are so goofy looking, I use the smudge tool to smudge it out. Then I will go back and I'll use the blur tool, very small, to just blur it in a little. And then I'll go and do the sharpen tool around it, so it doesn't really, no, well, that make it look really bad. So it doesn't look like I've, messed with it royally. I then use the sharpen tool too to enhance his eyes a little bit more than the overlay would have done, and his lips. And maybe his beard a little bit. Yeah, I like it. His lips might have been a little too much. There we go. So we'll do his beard and a little bit of the lips. And maybe a little bit of his hair. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you too ask about the black border. The way you get the black border, we'll go ahead and flatten this, is you come over here to the rectangle, whatever this is, and we're just going to make a rectangle around him, and we're going to go to select, inverse, and paintbrush, and then we'll just simply paint. And it will not go into your picture, only to what you have highlighted. Obviously you want to try and get it a little more neat, unlike me. So I'll hit deselect. You could always, if you do, you can always come back and pick and move, and then paint again. Paint, 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 paint. Okay, select. If you wanted for any, the two other things that I know I get asked sometimes are the lens flare is under the same thing as lighting effects. It's under lens flare, and you simply just move it into anywhere you want. You can change the brightness of it. So we'll just say it's where this little light's coming from. Okay, then we get this nice little lens flare thing happening. I don't know why you'd use it here, but if that were your prerogative, I guess. Also, another good thing to know is the blur function. If you want to just say you just want to blur him and you don't want to blur all the rest of it, you come down here to this edit in quick mask mode, and we'll click it. We're going to make sure we're on the paintbrush, and we're going to just highlight or paint over him. Doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter any of that other stuff. We're just going to paint over him. And then I always like to uncheck it and make sure I get, like, see here I'm missing some. So I'm going to check it again. I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to go up here. We'll go hit it again. I'm missing up top here. Okay. Once I get this how I want it, I'm not going to aim for success here. We're going to uncheck it. And we're going to go to select inverse. So now just he is the one that's highlighted. We'll go to filter, blur, and then you can have all sorts of blur. Motion blur. You can change them up. You can see if you move this what he would look like. So we can just say that looks pretty cool. Select, deselect, and there you go. You can do that. The best thing you do it with is like pictures like this. Maybe instead you just want to do just, you know, have them not be blurred out and have the rest of it blurred out. It's really up to you. Another thing I get asked a lot too is how do you combine two pictures. Let's say we edit this one and we want to add another sim whatever to this picture. I'm going to find the picture. Here's this one. I'm going to take this thing again, and we're going to just take the part that we want from her. I'm going to hit Control C to copy. We'll go back to the original picture, Control V to paste. This isn't going to look good because obviously it's not the same color and we've already edited. If you wanted to do this, the best bet is to do it at the very beginning. But since we've already made moves, I don't think we can. So you definitely want to do this at the beginning if you wanted to add, but I'm going a little out of order. So I Control V to paste. I'm going to hit Control T to transform the image. The best advice is to hit Shift. If you hit Shift, it'll keep the constraints of the image, so it won't become all pixely and distorted. If you're not hitting Shift, you can change it to however you want. Okay, but we're going to hit Shift. It'll automatically, if you start moving it here and you hit Shift, it's going to constrain it for you. So you can fix it like that, move it, and we'll just say yeah. And then if for some reason, let's say this was an all white background, obviously it isn't, we're going to go ahead and take the eraser and erase around. I totally got our elbow. Okay. And we're going to erase around him until, you know, it matches up to what you want. If you want to move the background, well, now we can't, so you'd have to make this a layer. But either way, you basically have it just like that. Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to show you is also for actions. If you wanted to use an action, let me just get a clean picture. If you wanted to use actions, the way you download actions is going to be, you're going to right click, and actually I'm not going to show you because I don't even remember at this moment. But if you wanted to make an action, all you want to do is we're going to create a new. It's going to pop up something like this. We'll hit record. It's going to record your action. I don't know what this is called, action 2. It's going to record your actions. So then you can do whatever you want. And this is how, you know, other simmers share their actions and so on and so forth. Bloop, bloop, blue. Yay, that looks fun. And we'll just do this. Okay. Then once you're done, you're going to go ahead and hit stop. And you can open up your next picture. Let's just say it's this one and hit play. And it'll run through and do the exact same action that you did on here to this picture. I hope that that's all. I tried to make a list of whatever. Again, I'm not saying that I'm the best. I probably haven't even shown you, even the more awesome things you could do with this software. But I do hope that this was, simple and easy, and maybe could help people edit pictures in the future. I think so.